Joining me now is Yuval David. He is a gay Israeli-American, an Emmy Award-winning actor, director, filmmaker, and an LGBTQ+ activist. He was at the Gay Pride Parade in New York City last night when it turned violent. Thanks very much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me on. I wish I was on your show for happier occasions. LGBTQ Pride is supposed to be a time for us to celebrate our identity, to celebrate our intersectionality. But what we've seen at LGBTQ Pride marches across the United States and Canada in over 100 cities, as the FBI warned us about far before Pride Month, and as the ADL has warned us about in the Combat Anti-Semitism movement, that Pride events are being targeted by these Palestinian protesters.
Why? I mean, is it because do they support this Hamas charter where they go after homosexuality?
There has been a mind-twisting manipulation of useful idiots. My own LGBTQ, progressive, liberal, Democrat communities have been manipulated to believe that we're supposed to support Hamas, which makes no sense. I'm a true progressive. I'm a true LGBTQ activist. I support any government, any ruling party that supports LGBTQ rights, women's rights, equal access to education. I can give you a list of values. But what we're seeing, and something you said, you were speaking about this as if the pro-Palestinian or the Palestinian protesters are different than the LGBTQ protesters. I was at these marches. I was assaulted myself in the Washington, D.C. Pride March. I encountered people yelling and screaming horrible things at me at the New York City Pride March. These were LGBTQ people as well. Were they faking it? Were they just dyeing their hair different colors and wearing pride colors? Maybe. But you know what? They seemed awfully queer to me, and it's an embarrassment to our LGBTQ community, and I'm furious. Furious.
But why? So do you think that these are more outside agitators who are following the dictates of Hamas, or are these people who would have been at the parade anyway who said, oh, this is a great opportunity to try to ruin the day for my, fellow parade goers?
Look, Pride started as a protest, so let's get that right. LGBTQ movement is a movement more than it is a community where we're fighting for our socio-political rights, representation. So protest should be part of it. But Pride and the LGBTQ movement is supposed to be able to be about inclusion, about acceptance, about tolerance, about celebrating our diversity. And what we're seeing is apparently that doesn't include Jewish people. When people at Pride think it's acceptable to say that they're anti-Israel or anti-Zionist, when the fact is the vast majority of Jewish people are Zionist, because Zionism is about the self-actualization of the Jewish people with a connection to our history and our homeland. That's it. Israel, over 50% of the Jewish population in the world lives in Israel. So if you're singling out Israel and Zionism, and you're saying you're against it in the name of your queer identity, then that's revealing anti-Semitism. Queers for Palestine is an organization that's been around at least...
That one, I don't get that one.
Neither do I.
How can you be a Queer for Palestine knowing what the policies are where gay people in Gaza and the West Bank typically have to try to go to Israel to get protected?
Somebody who's queer for Palestine, the harsh equivalency that I can think of as an American is an African-American who supports the KKK. It makes no sense. Because you know what? I know Palestinian people who had to flee and seek asylum in Israel because they're gay or lesbian. A gay man like me, a punishment would be to be raped, because apparently you're only gay if you're on the penetrative side of sex, right? So they'll rape a gay man and then throw him off a building. A lesbian will get forced into sex slavery or to marry an undesirable man. Why would an LGBTQ activist or movement support Hamas? It doesn't make sense. It's narcissistic mind-twisting where they want to support a popular hashtag because Free Palestine is much easier to remember than Am Yisrael Chai, which is a Hebrew statement of solidarity for our people.
Yuval David, thank you very much for coming in. Important discussion.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.